Hello everyone, my name is Kevin from MRU Studios, and today I wanted to continue my 3D animation tutorial series, specifically talking about the creation of 3D animated text you can use in DAZ Studio. We're actually going to create this text in Blender, export it, and then import it into DAZ Studio, manipulate the surface settings, apply some Iray shaders and super shaders, and create some really cool looking text that you can use for a title sequence such as the one you see here that comes directly from the visual novel trailer that I uploaded on my channel. Link in the corner over there if you want to check it out. But this is a frame from that visual novel trailer with the lovely Captain Tanya Sadea, who is a member of the team you're going to see in the upcoming mercenary team you're going to see in the upcoming series. Also, you'll see this same technique, this 3D text, used in the intro to my channel, which you're about to see. Let's get started. Okay, so let's check it out. We're going to open up Blender, and just from the base interface here, we got the splash screen. You can just click off that, and we can get rid of what we have in the scene. By default, Blender brings in a camera, a default cube, and a light. We're not going to use any of those for this. It's going to be very straightforward. You're going to see how simple and easy it is to create this text. It's really not that hard. So we're going to just delete the camera. We don't need that. We don't need the cube, and we don't need the light. We might want to use those if we wanted to like demonstrate lighting and create some lights in here to see how it's going to look, but that's just going to be based on what we would see from the Eevee and the Cycles render engine, and we're going to be using the NVIDIA render engine, which is different. So first thing we're going to do is click or press Shift and then A. I need to get it set up on the keyboard where it shows the key presses I'm making so you guys can follow along with me. And what we're going to do is come down to text here. You have, I don't know, I hope you can see that. Click text, and that adds a tab here to allow you to manipulate text settings. So right now it's kind of flat on the in the environment. So we want to set it up so we can get a better view of it. So what you do is click R or press R, X. That's for R for rotate, X for rotate on the x-axis, and then 90 degrees, just 90. And then that brings it up, sets it up, and hit enter. So we're out of the rotation tool. And if you want to move around in the Blender environment, you click down on your scroll wheel, and then you can move around. Okay, you also have these controls up here. The hand kind of moves back and forth, you know, in a kind of like 2D plane. You can zoom in and out by clicking, right-clicking, or left-clicking, sorry, and pulling up or down, and that zooms you in. This is camera view, which we're not going to worry about right now because we're not doing any camera work. So the first thing you want to do is click on the text and then hit Tab. What Tab does is it shifts between object mode and edit mode, and we're going to need to be in edit mode to change the text. So you just type on the keyboard. That's your cursor right there, that gray line. Tab over, tab back to get rid of the text that's there. And we can type in the text we want, MRU Studios. Now this is going to be a default font, okay? Again, right-clicking on the scroll wheel, and moving the hand over here. So we'll right click on the scroll wheel and zoom in. Right about there is good. So this is not the text I want to do. I want a sci-fi looking text, right? So I have a text downloaded called, here we're gonna go to it, and this is, we're gonna go to my folder where I keep all the text files I download. So go in here, and we want to go to fonts. All right, and here's my new fonts. The one I like is this Conthrax. It's kind of like a real cool sci-fi looking text. It's easy to read. If you're interested in the text I'm using and you'd like to follow along, you can go to a website called DaFont. A lot of free fonts there. I think all the fonts I've downloaded are all available for any use you want, private, commercial use, it's okay. And here's Contracts. You could just type in Contracts in your search, and that's the one you get. But if there's another font you want to use and follow along, feel free. That's got thousands or tens of thousands of fonts on here. A lot of cool sci-fi looking ones like this one. Like again, I said again, it's really easy to read, this one, so I like it. So let's just select the TrueType font, say open, and then we've switched to that font. Oh, okay, and I didn't realize this. It automatically, I thought I would have to retype it. It automatically readjusts the text to the font you've selected over here, which is perfect. So now we want to get out of edit mode, tab again, and we've selected the font, and we have 3D font right here. The one thing is it has no thickness, and for 3D space, I like to have it some thickness, make it look like it's a piece of metal or something out there in space, or has some depth to it. If you just want 2D like this, that's perfectly fine too, but I'm gonna go ahead and go through the process of adding some depth and beveling the text to give it a really refined, nice, slightly rounded look, which is what I like. So in your text tab over here, you come over to Geometry, click that little caret, bring it down, and you're going to go to where it shows extrude. What that does is it's going to give extrude to give thickness to the text. So we click here, and usually for extrusion, I like to go to about 0.15 or 0.2. That's a little too much. Let's adjust it here, 0.15. Okay, that's about right. It's a little bit, maybe 0.12. That's good right there. So you notice now it's extruded, but it has really sharp edges. If you like that, you're done. That's perfectly fine. I'm going to go ahead and bevel the text. So if you come down here, it's also under Geometry, I believe. Yeah, right under Geometry. Click on that. Click the down caret, or the caret on the bevel, and you're going to go to Depth. And it doesn't take much to start beveling here. If you go too far, you can always redo it. So we're going to zoom in and show you an edge here and see what that looks like. So I'm going to go about 0.015 maybe, and that's pretty good. I think somewhere between 0.020, that's a little much for me, or 0.010. I think 0.015 is good. So it gives it a nice rounded look. I just like the look of that. And at this point, we're done. Now, if we wanted to do something in Blender for cycles, we'd come over here to shading, and we could start using nodes, and we could start adding some cycles-based, really cool looking materials, or we could use some procedure materials. I'm not going to be getting into that. We are just going to be exporting this as it is, a blank mesh with nothing added, no textures, no shaders, nothing. We're just going to export it and take this over to DAZ Studio. So click on File, and we come down to Export. There's Wavefront OBJ. That's the one we want. Might be able to use FBX, but we're not exporting any textures or anything like that, so it's really not going to matter that much. I'm just going to do Wavefront OBJ. So click on that, come down here, and I'm going to name it. I'm going to go into my main drive where I do all of my stuff. I've already got one called MRU Studios because I was testing this out before I started recording the video. So we're going to select that one and just overwrite it. So you select Export OBJ, and you're done. Now it's time to go over to DAZ Studio and start doing some really cool stuff. See you there. Okay, so here we are loading up DAZ Studio, and we're just gonna start from a very blank screen so you guys I can show you how to do this from scratch. So we won't worry about the timeline right now. If you want your DAZ Studio to look like this, you can come over to Window, Workspace, and the workspace that I use is city limits. And I think I talked about this in the other video. Basically, you're going from the very simplest interface if you're just getting started, which is Hollywood Boulevard, up to the more advanced interface that shows you more advanced features of DAZ Studio, and that's the one I'm using. Now, I've set up the layout that's best for my use, but city limits is the one I've used. Now, mine's set up a little bit differently because of the way I've configured stuff, but what we're gonna do right now is just come over, and we're going to start at the center. Oh, we are there. Okay. We're going to open up import the MRU Studios OBJ we exported. So let's click on that, open, and it's going to ask us how we want to import the text we exported from Blender. So we're going to go over here from custom. We're going to select Blender because that's what we exported from. I'm going to leave it at 5,000%. That's fine. Everything else can stay the same, and click accept. So there's our text right there. All right. And we can rotate that. So let's click on that. We will also do a rotation of the text on the x-axis. Let's do -90 degrees. Okay, so that sets it up. So we're sitting here in 3D space. Let's bring it up a little bit from the ground so we can look at it a little bit better off of the field there. So there it is, and it's got the beveling and everything we added. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at it in Iray. So let's look at it Iray over here. And let's leave it just like that. We may want to rotate our environment. What I'm going to do is, I'm not sure what environment we have set, dome and scene, and it's got the default environment map. This will be here when you open DAZ Studio. To make things simple, we're just going to stick with that, but we are going to rotate the dome around so we can get more of the lighting on the front of the text because it's kind of behind it right now. And how you can do that is you can rotate your dome. You rotate it in real time there. So looks like that's pretty good. It's pretty bright. What I'll do is maybe, and this is the scene. If you draw the dome, this is what it's going to look like. It's a very low resolution image or picture. It's mainly just used for lighting. So we're not going to leave the image there because it doesn't look that great, but it does provide pretty good lighting. Okay, let's reduce the lighting a little bit to about like 0.5. Yeah, so we can see it a little bit better here in 3D space. So 0.25, let's increase it a little bit, 0.40. 0.5 is probably fine, probably stay with that. Okay, so this is just plain, nothing, white text. This is the base mesh, no lighting, I mean, no colors or anything on it. So let's go over here and add some colors. We can go to our presets. First of all, we're going to go down to the Surfaces tab. That's this tab right here. If it's not available, you can go to Window, go to Panes tab, and come down here to Surfaces. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. You can see that. No, actually it comes down pretty far, so let's just go back. Okay, but there is a Surfaces over here. That's where I am, Surfaces. So select that and it will come up. If I click it now, it's going to turn off that tab. So we're going to click on our mesh right here. And we're going to go to presets. For me, I like a lot of yellow. Yellow and black is part, yellow, black, and a little bit of blue is part of my brand colors for what I'm doing. So I usually come over here to Iray Super Shaders. I have some camouflage, if you like camouflage. This is something something I bought, a shader set I bought from the DAZ Studio store. Very well done by I think it was a published artist. So we could do some black and yellow camouflage. Let's check it out. Right there, got some cool, it doesn't kind of translate well to the text. It looks kind of funky, but you know, you can play around with it, get whatever you want. There is some cool translucent colors. There's some solid colors, there's patterns. Let's take a look here. There's one really cool that's like semi like translucent, and we can set that ourselves in Surfaces, but got some car paints here, which are pretty cool. Red, any kind of color you want, basically. You can add ceramic, crystal. Here's a wax one. Here's one that's pretty cool. It's semi-translucent, so it's kind of a waxy looking color. Probably have to increase the lighting for that one. Just trying to get, that's pretty cool looking. And mess around with the surfaces a little bit here. Okay, and we can come down here to glossy roughness, which is going to give us a little bit of, it's going to make it even more transparent. It's going to remove the roughness, make it shinier, and that also brings out the translucency. Really cool looking. Makes it a kind of like a, looks like a piece of candy or something, or a piece of translucent plastic material. I like, for mine, I like a little bit, and you could go to the colored wax, but I usually, for mine, I set, and you guys can set any of this stuff you want. All these settings control, and this is all Iray friendly settings for surfaces, and these are Iray shaders. They work really good in Iray when you render an Iray. I mean, that looks really cool right there, like a really translucent color. The only difference is I'd like to make it yellow. So I have solid colors here, and we can select a yellow. Okay, so when we set the red, we were setting it was a preset. To change the color, we're gonna have to, the transmitted color, it's set to this reddish color, I guess it is, and we're gonna set it to yellow. We're gonna change it a little bit. Okay, so in my case, I like yellow. It's part of my brand color. So we did something where we made the text really translucent. It's a really cool effect. That's a text we have, and we can use it in a animated sequence. And I will bring in and show you, I don't intend for this to be an animation tutorial, just kind of a short tutorial to show you how to bring in some text and manipulate the settings and surfaces and get the colors you want and the look you want. In this case, what I did is I changed the translucency down here and added some and made it look semi-transparent. But I could also come over here, put the translucency weight all the way back. Okay, that makes it completely translucent. And so we can mess around with some of the settings over here, increase its translucency, put a really cool effect on there, really cool effect. That's it. That's how you create the text right there. But basically done as I went in, chosen one of my base colors, chosen one of my colors, which is yellow here. I left all of the other colors here, translucency color, SSS, which is subsurface shading, reflectance tint, and glossy color all to white, and just change the base color. I also set the transmitted color to yellow as well. And you can render this, have it render it out. It looks a little bit grainy because I do not have, under my render settings over here, I do not have denoising turned on. So let's turn that on and get it smoothed out a little bit. There we go. We may have to do quite a bit of, because the way the lighting is on this, may have to do quite a few samples to get it to look good. But that's it. And you can apply your lighting, have the lighting effects come in. We're going to add a little light over here. We are going to set up a distant light, and we're going to say apply viewport transform. So it's going to do it from the view of the perspective right here. It's going to shine down from where we're looking at right now. So select accept. If we scroll out, there's our distant light, and we can scroll here. We can go to all, come down, and this wasn't really meant as a lighting tutorial, but since I've started on it, let's do that. You can set the lumens right here. Let's just set it to a pretty high value. Let's make 50,000 to see what that looks like. It's going to shine on it right there. Let's do like maybe 150,000. Okay, and it's shining on it pretty good right now. And we've also got, you'll see down here, the reason that we have that reflection right there, the ground captures Iray shadows. It's a shadow catcher in NVIDIA Iray. If we want to turn off the shadow, go to environment and select draw ground off. There goes your shadow. So we added a little bit more lighting there, so it's a little bit brighter. There's lots of cool effects you can add to the text to get just the look you want, to make some really cool 3D animated text that you can use in an intro, animated intro, or just a image that you're working on, a rendered image that you're working on, the name of your character that you're rendering. Just a really cool way to add a nice touch, nice feature to your renders or your animation. Now what I want to do is I want to take you over to my intro and show you how I set that up, some of the features there to show you some other cool effects you can add. Okay, so I wanted to show you the text here and some surface settings I've added to give a little different or a different effect to the text. Let me go ahead and go over. We're going to get out of Iray mode because I am practically pushing the limits of my graphics card's RAM with this particular scene here. So let's go over to texture shaded, and we'll go to frame 350 where you'll get to see the 3D text I've added for my intro here. Okay, so here's the scene for the intro. I have made the text semi-glossy or semi-metallic based on the surface settings I've used. Let me select the text there, and we'll take a look at that, see what settings I used for that. So I used the base color of yellow. I went over here to presets, originally under shader sets, Iray super shaders, and I just selected solid colors. I don't remember if this is, you guys can check in your DAZ Studio if this is a default shader that comes with DAZ Studio or one I purchased. I think it is a default color, but that's the one I'm using, is solid yellow. It is an Iray shader here, and if you come over here, you'll see the metallicity I've changed. I've changed the metallicity roughness, and I put metallicity all the way up. So it made the text, gave it a metallic look. And if you want it to be have an even greater metallic look, you can lower the glossy roughness. It makes it a smoother surface, which in this case will make it shinier because of the way we've set up our metallicity in our surface metallicity. So if we lower this here, you'll see we start to get even a more shiny reflective surface. If we take it too far, then what happens is it gets so shiny and reflective that it's hard to see. In this particular case, with this particular scene and what we've done. So I have it set to about 0.35 to get the best look. That's just glossy roughness that I've changed. It gives it a nice look, but still makes it look somewhat shiny so that you can see the text. And like I said, there are tons of settings here that I could go through that you could use to change the look. And as you saw when we did our import of the text we did in the previous setup for DAZ Studio, we made it semi-translucent, which is great. So there's tons of effects that you can do just by setting your by going to surface and playing around with these settings. You can basically get any look you can think of. If you've got an idea of your head for how you want text to look, you can adjust these surface settings and get any look you want. Basically any look you want. As you saw here, this is just 2 examples of things you can do. So that's it for the tutorial. I'm going to continue to add stuff to the introduction. So if you're following along with these tutorials every week, you're going to see the introduction change as time goes on. It's a personal challenge I have to keep upping the quality of my intro. So I hopefully the next time what I've done is I've actually exported my intro here to Blender, and I'm going to start messing around with setting it up there so that I can use some of the really cool tools and effects and animation animation tools to create a space battle as you're flying towards this intro. So right now it's basically pushing myself to get better, and hopefully you'll be along with me for this journey. Please hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the video and you want to follow me further. You're going to be seeing the visual novel dropping this fall. We're gonna, I think within the next few weeks, should have it done. I've done all the compositing for it. Everything's ready. Just need to get it out there to you guys. And I'm going to continue to put out these tutorials because I want to give back to the amazing 3D animation community who has been so supportive of what I do. I've met a lot of great people, and there's tons of great, awesome videos out there, and I want to pay it forward by helping others learn 3D animation. I am going to be doing these tutorials. I plan to do it every Monday. So a new tutorial is going to come out. We're going to talk about different stuff that I've learned to help you grow and learn in your animation journey. Look forward to presenting you with a visual novel series coming soon. Click the link that I think I have over here in one of the corners to check out the trailer video I've created, and we'll see you in the next video.